Welcome to another episode of my Motortown playthrough. This time around we are going to bring the copper concentrate from the concentrator down to the refinery. And I'm going to do another little trip up to the mine, bring some copper over here. Because I kind of optimized the whole thing and I wanted you guys to see that. So first up we're gonna get another little contract over here for 20 ore, because that's what we can do in a single delivery. And then I'm just going to go into fourth gear and head up the hill there. We're gonna load up and bring it back down, and from there we are going to load up some concentrate. Not into the Terra though, that wouldn't really work. Can't really bring it down to the refinery like that. The gates aren't wide enough. But yeah, I did some more supply runs. I also did a lot of trips back and forth with the aid of a contract in order to get all the stuff delivered and make a decent amount of money from it. So if we now load up our 20 units here, I mean the rest is going to be taken care of by the Limusi that's running back and forth here. What I then tend to do here, I just put it in reverse and run until it redlines, go into neutral and let it roll. Gravity assisted driving over here. Sometimes getting a bit sketchy with the speeds, and you gotta be careful on the brakes because otherwise it's gonna go sideways. Just like that. But I usually can make it down here rather easily and get a good amount of money from that. I see this more as a compensation for how garbage the supply run payouts are. So with all the effort I put into this, getting the fuel and planks up to the mine, we are really not being paid well for that, and this kind of makes up for it. So that's what I used to make a lot of money recently. But yeah, this is now going to be where we finally take the stuff over to the next step. And we are going to need one of the dump trucks. I'm not entirely sure if this one can make it. This is the one with the 6-speed. But the thing is, it also has the trailer hitch. I don't think I ever got the trailer hitch on the one that I'm mostly using for the iron ore. But that might be necessary here. I mean, for the most part, it's going to be downhill, so we should be good. And I'm just gonna try this with the trailer and everything. And honestly, if you are doing this, this one is what I need. If you are doing this in a sensible way, I would actually recommend getting a Limusi dump truck for this. 6 units is enough to produce 2 copper coils down at the refinery, so it is a decent amount. I think you need 3 copper coils in order to get one of the large transformers at the other factory, so I think that's an alright amount. Not amazing, not massive, but decent. And it's also very easy to do that. But with the whole YouTube thing here, with me being a test driver, I of course have to go to the extremes, and that's how we end up with something like this, and with the concentrator being as full as it is right there. So yeah, I'm gonna try out a few things here. And I've done basically all the smaller vehicles at this point. I used the Limusi dump, I used the Dumpy, and also this truck without any trailer attached. But this one, with the trailer, that's the first, and we are going to see how well that goes. Especially on a truck that's really just meant for coal transport, which is much, much lighter. But yeah, this is all really nice looking. Also, I think I should maybe clarify a few things that I mentioned a few episodes ago regarding the different playstyles for the game. Some of the stuff that's a bit more idle friendly, some of it that's a bit more engaging, requiring your full attention, etc. And I'm kind of happy that both things work for this game, but for different parts. I like that not everything is idleable. It would be kind of boring if you could just go in here with autopilot, minimum attention, and just let it run by itself. But I think having some of those aspects is kind of nice for some of it. Like the regular road tracking stuff where really not too much is happening. You can make that interesting by taking some smaller loads, by maybe also taking something that's too large and actually requires some work to get going and keep on the road, etc. But I like that there's an option that people can just go a bit AFK if they need to. And I think that's also been one of the success things for the game. Oh, this is not going well. This is not going well. I'm trying to reverse. I'm holding the gas, but yeah, let me just do that instead. Let's reverse it for a moment. And take this really, really slow. But yeah, for me, the regular trucking stuff, on-road stuff with any regular amount of weight that doesn't make it tricky, it got boring at some point. And with how the game is designed, there's a whole lot of that. Again, I don't want to knock it for the people who like it, but I'm a bit more of a mindset that I want to be engaged. The moment I turn on the autopilot for too long, that usually means I got a bit bored, and that's not that nice. Although sometimes it can be nice if you can just turn on autopilot, do something on the side, maybe on Discord, or just watch a video on the side and don't need to be engaged that much. Okay, this isn't going well. I think if I go off to the side, the hill is a bit less steep there. Also literally T-boning the entire thing here. But yeah, the thing is, I've seen some calls for certain things to be AFK-able, or make the, what was it, the garbage truck basically a company activity and all of that. I don't know about the garbage truck company thing. That might be something that could work. But especially when it comes to the B trains and all of that, people have been complaining that a lot of the unloading areas are not friendly to that. And you actually need to go in there and disconnect the trailers. And for me, that's the thing. The only part about the B trains that's interesting is actually, yeah, just maneuvering them through tight spaces, having to disconnect them, deliver them separately and all of that. I don't really want to see every single drop-off point become a drive-through or anything like that. So yeah, for me, if I want to do it the easy way, there's a lot of money to be made with just the regular old semi-trailers without going into the whole B-train thing. And yeah, if I want to do the B-train stuff, then I'm gonna be prepared for doing the extra work, and I think that's also kinda nice about it. Because honestly, when it comes to stuff like sunflower deliveries, or the seeds, I mean. Okay, this is not going well. This might be a problem. I don't really mind having to disconnect the trailers, but the actual trip from the farm to the harbor to the drop-off, that's kind of a boring part for me. So I like that it has this engaging aspect, and I hope they keep it. So far they have been really good about keeping the course on that kind of thing. But yeah, it's something that just comes up on the Discord every now and again, and I don't know. I mean, there's also quite a lot of feedback that I give at some point that has been ignored as well. For example, I have been wanting to get the copper coils to be only loadable with a forklift, and ideally also require them to be unloaded with a forklift at the different factories. And also steel coils at the transformer factory, I think that should require a forklift as well, but yeah, didn't get anything like that. And I get it that for some people they don't enjoy the forklift stuff, they just wanna go into an offloading area and be done with it. And maybe there should be a way to get either. But yeah, for me it's just a bunch of wasted potential only having steel coils for the forklift and only being able to load them onto the trailer, never doing the unloading, never using the forklift in a different location, never having a second cargo for it. I mean, there is no better cargo that they could have used for the forklift than the copper coils, but they are being put on pallets. So there are coils and all of that, they are pretty much the same size. I think they are maybe a bit more narrow, but yeah, they are being laid down on a pallet instead of standing up and requiring you to put the thing in and yeah, pull it up. Okay, here we go. But yeah, I also get the whole idle aspect of the game. It feels nice sometimes if you had a busy day and just wanna somewhat relax, not really think about it too much, but also get something done for later, make a bit of money, maybe get a supply chain going that maybe if you got more time and energy on the weekend can take more actively charge off and participate in. So the idle aspect in this game definitely big and kinda important. Okay, so from this point on there are two directions we could go. Honestly, even up here, we could have gone up north and over through this part and down here like that. The intended route would be actually going through Young for some reason. I mean, we certainly couldn't force ourselves here through this here. I doubt that would ever work. We could theoretically also try go around here. That might be a bit shorter. But the real way to do it, and that's what I'm going to do, is turn left. Because honestly, there should be a road here. It's been planned. It's even on the Trello already, but despite there being multiple updates ever since that could have benefited from this road, it's still not in place, so I'm just gonna go across the field. And honestly, considering that this is definitely something that they got planned for later, as seen by first up this little turnaround loop, the road not being finished, the contours over here pointing at another road, and it also being a pretty natural thing that you want to be here, and it being useful for multiple things, multiple deliveries, etc. It just sucks that they not only couldn't get it in up until this point, but they also changed the terrain to make it harder to do exactly what I'm doing right here. And yeah, this isn't just for the copper. This would also be an important connection for bringing down the iron ore and all of that. I've done the same thing with iron and coal, bring it over the fields and to that location. And also even stuff like ambulance work and taxi work and all of that. If you ever need to go from Ara to Gepa, this would be the main connection you would be using, even if it is all a dirt road. Yeah, this apparently isn't going to be happening. So we're gonna stay to the shallow parts. Good to know that this truck, as it is right now, just doesn't have the pull to get up there. Again, this isn't really optimized for this kind of delivery. And usually, for the most part, the smaller trucks would suffice right here. It takes ages to get up to this capacity. And it's been partially aided by me doing all these testing deliveries from the last few episodes. Otherwise, getting something like 27 copper concentrate, that's a lot of copper ore that goes into the concentrator. You can take that times 30. So yeah, if we had like 30 times 30, that would be 900 if I'm correct. And this would be 810 copper ore just for getting this load right here. I know there's a lot more in the concentrator, because I've been going ham on this whole thing. So yeah, crazy amount. But yeah, just had to do it. And I think this is also why they might be changing the other mine than the further away one. Because with how much you need in order to make a copper concentrate, it's really not viable going for that mine. Even if you can just pull out a full Atlas dump without the trailer, without ever supplying it, because that's still more like half a concentrate than anything else. So that one needs to be a bit more dense. That needs to produce more concentrate from every single unit than this. Or more like you should need fewer units of that copper ore than what you need from the nearby mines. Because currently the resupply thing is just way too strong. And with how much you need overall, I don't think it would be a good idea nerfing the output from the other mines. I think that's the part that's kind of alright right now. Getting you a good amount of stuff from doing the supply runs efficiently. And the other mine just needs to be brought up to the same level to be comparable. I think maybe that should be like 3 times more efficient. So you only need 10 copper ore from the faraway mine compared to the 30 from the nearby mines. I think that would be alright. Okay, gotta search for the road here. There should be a road here somewhere, but I don't know exactly where it is, and the sooner I find it, the fewer issues I will have running into more rocks or something. But yeah, there should be another dirt road here leading towards the drag strip and all of that, and then we wouldn't have to cut across the grass like this. But having to go up all the way to Baiyang in order to get onto this road, it's kinda ridiculous. And while they are putting in a lot of work into the game and doing a lot of good stuff with it, there are always things like this that kind of should be addressed as well. Okay, I'm needing to go a bit further to the left here. Not reaching anything like this. I was about to go into that little valley between the hills there, and that would have been not a good idea. Just like not seeing that rock and going straight over it. Thankfully the dump truck is a beast and they can just do that. I think IRL we would be dealing with a broken axle or two now. But yeah, the only reason I could see why they haven't put in at least some sort of road here, even if it's something more temporary, would be if they have some bigger ideas for the area between the sawmill and over here, and they want to get it right from the get-go. In that case, I can understand it, but it's still annoying that we don't have the road yet. But yeah, when it comes to temporary stuff, you gotta be careful. Especially since there's always the risk that somebody might like the temporary stuff more than what's gonna be there permanently. And you don't wanna risk that. But yeah, we made it back to the road, so we should be pretty much in the clear here. It was a bit of a trip, but we got it done. Got some buses waiting there. That's one thing that I always felt a bit weird about. There seem to be a large number of buses active in the traffic. Just with how the stuff spawns, I tend to see a lot of buses there. I don't know if there's some bias towards certain vehicles. I know that some of them have been excluded from the traffic, like the Formula SCM for obvious reasons. But yeah, other vehicles, some of them seem to come up very, very often. Would be nice if we got a few more cars for the traffic pool. Just a few more regular vehicles, you know? Also for tuning, racing, etc. Not like you can't do anything with them. I mean, you can't do anything with them if you don't have them. But yeah, that's regular thing here. Okay, let's see. I would like to maybe get a contract going. Concentrate 50, 30 would be nice. I mean, 27, I take it. I'm not gonna go for 30. I don't really want to repeat the whole trip. Even if I could be using a smaller vehicle. I mean, it would be okay if I were to take maybe a Jemusi. If I can unload half a Jemusi into this, I could do 2 contracts. And then just get another large load like this one going. But I think I'm good for now. Yeah, contract completion just from that. Yeah, 79k plus the 20 something there. Not really 27 because I also had to pay for the contract. But yeah, this is a decent payout finally. I should still make a feedback post about the plank and fuel payout for the supply runs. But that's kind of an old story at this point. They nerfed it into the ground at some point because some people were making a lot of money off one of the construction sites, and Yeah, since then it's just been garbage. Despite being a really tough job. But yeah, the dump truck is done right here. I should maybe try and repair it at some point. But we could also maybe deliver some of the other stuff. Oh yeah, we changed some of the menus here, and that's making things a bit weird. I still got a tanker spawned over there. So yeah, we could do some other stuff. We could deliver some of the coils. Might as well use this truck, because why not? This also has some damage. I wonder how. I wonder why. But yeah, these are the copper coils, and you just put them into any regular flatbed like this or box truck. They go to quote-unquote 2 locations, but it's really just the same. Oh yeah, it's also slowly making the stuff, so it hasn't even dealt with any of my concentrate. We might be here for a moment. So you know what, I might as well go over and quickly repair some stuff. Get the truck refueled, get them all repaired. Just a bit of maintenance since we need to wait anyways. I would say just do that in the next episode, but I also just need to make sure that I even have something to do there. I don't know how much I got all the other stuff supplied. The two new factories that we got here, the transformer factory and the tank factory, both need a lot of coils, etc. Been kinda annoying having to deal with that amount. It's just, coils are very grindy, and the amount that we need right now doesn't really help it. I'm kind of glad that we don't need to deliver any coal to the thing there, to the copper refinery. Would make sense to have to smelt it, but maybe better that we don't need more coal somewhere in that area. It's just such a grindy thing already. I'm basically permanently running my dump trucks, getting the stuff from DASA, and even then they can barely keep up. The 50 megavolt ampere thing just takes 10 coils to produce, plus all the other stuff. So that's just really a stupid amount. But yeah, let's go over there. I might have to end the episode here though, because I think it's gonna take a while for enough coils to spawn there. But let's check this out. I can also take a closer look at the coils in detail over here. And yeah, everything just comes on a pallet. Yeah, great, got 2 of them now. And they only weigh 2.1 tons right here. Copper is a more dense material than steel. So if these will ever get to the same size as the steel coils, they should be heavier. And even now I think they are similarly sized enough that maybe that's unrealistically light for them. But it doesn't really do much either way. So yeah, might wait another episode, maybe then combine that with one of the oversized deliveries. I'm gonna have to check how much stuff I have at the other factory and then see how that all goes, if I can make that into a full episode. Just bringing over the coils wouldn't really be enough, and I don't really want to get into transporting the other stuff as well right now. I think I've done that enough for the moment. But yeah, everything else here looking quite alright. It's missing a bit of limestone, but limestone has never been the biggest factor in the production here. The coils might be far further down when it comes to storage though. Oh no, it's also finally full. Nice. Okay, so maybe I can finally take my trucks over here and do something else with them. So yeah, let's change the route for them. Lime steel should be the right one. And the same goes for this one right here. Won't be running them long on that route, I don't think. But yeah, let's check out that route in detail just to be sure that I got the right one. It sounds like it should be the correct one, but I'm never too sure. So we start at one of the quarries, go down to the limestone rock drop, then go back to another quarry and then down to this point again before collecting limestone. And that should then go over to this place right here. Yeah, that's looking alright. So this is basically also taking care that the limestone crusher thing is supplied. Otherwise, we might run into an issue where we drain that whole thing. So it's taking care of both inner quarry things and then taking it out of there. Just to make sure it's always getting resupplied and never being drained or running out or whatever. So yeah, that's also how I run the other stuff when it comes to the quarry. Since it can all take the same truck, why not do both jobs? But yeah, that's gonna be it from now. I'm going to check where I am with all the other factories and make sure that I got the stuff up and running. Glad that the steel mill is full again. But yeah, everything else is gonna be happening another time. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you then. As always, have a good one and bye bye.